was a friend, not a family relationship, by the name of Constable, to come over and work with him in the family store, in the chain, and they built a chain of stores in the New York area. They were very well off, very wealthy, and the connection with our family began sometime around the latter part of the 19th century, when Auntie Arnold, whose original name was Cameron, in a double wedding ceremony, she and one of the other people on the island married the Arnolds, a son and a daughter. It was not, of course, the original Arnolds. And in the double ceremony, she became an Arnold. And father, when he was raised by Auntie Arnold, because of the fact that his father died, that is Edward Cameron, when he was about 5 years old from a gunshot wound in the home. Nobody knows for sure to this day whether it was an accident or a deliberate. Anyway, he was raised by Auntie Arnold. And in some manner, he became heir to all of this. He adopted the name Arnold. He did not legally change it. I've checked this.
So basically, your father has been associated for all these years, from my viewpoint, with secret operations run by the Navy, run by...
Absolutely correct.
By the government, basically as a private outfit. What the Wackenhut company does these days for guarding certain installations, and many other companies provide similar services in every other field. Obviously, this has been a tradition, a long tradition here.
I don't know the history. No one in the family seems to know fully the history. We don't even have the records of when he went in the Navy or how he came out, other than the fact that the town historian in Islip Bayshore area knows that he did leave the Navy in December of 1929 with a heart condition. He was mustered out and given a pension, and he never worked a day in his life again. He did have a heart problem.
So back to the, to the Germans that were working on these projects, because my feeling is that basically half of the scientists, maybe 2/3 of the scientists in these super advanced projects here in the United States were Germans.
Probably true. We know this to be the case insofar as both the Philadelphia experiment is concerned and many other projects that followed on. If you remember...
Have you ever had conversations with them about particular philosophies, about were they strong into some philosophy? Because here we are talking about the Germany being basically
well, here's
Germany.
Here's the problem in trying to track that down. When I was living under my original family name, and the real name of Edward Cameron, and was part of that project, and before I became part of that project, of course, and was just running around with the family and seeing Father once a year at Christmas and so forth, and I was going to school, I was not interested in any way in metaphysics or any of the secret society stuff or anything of this nature. I was just a happy-go-lucky guy who, along with my brother, were going through college and getting our education, and when we joined the Navy, but Father's insistence in September of 1939, we still maintained that status, and we went in the Navy because we were asked to, and we became part of the project. And of course, off hours before the war started, we were out chasing women all over the place. I mean, we set records among ourselves as to how many we could chase. We followed in Father's footsteps in many ways. He was quite a skirt chaser himself. He had 6 wives. And nobody knows how many sons and daughters by illegitimate operations, you might say. So we are still, the legends still run in the family, the cousins now, and the offspring of Father's exploits. But the unknown side of Father was that he made connections with intelligence, and he smuggled these people over, and we don't know how he made these connections. We know he knew people in Europe, because in the Navy he undoubtedly went to Europe.
Was he a member of secret societies, Masonic or other?
We have no knowledge whatever that he was a member of any society or group, and I don't think to this day anybody in the family knows whether or not he was connected with the Masonic order. This would be a good starting point.
Yeah.
That has not yet been researched by me because my time back east is limited, and my, shall I say, ability to talk with the known family members of the cousins and so forth. I have never talked with them about this subject because up to the last time when I saw them, I, as Al Bielik, was not considered a member of the Cameron clan. But my brother has finally broached it to them that I am a member of the clan, and it's caused no little disturbance. Any case, something like that. Well, there's no family fortune left. That disappeared.
So, I mean, let's go back to the occult, to the mystical.
See, my interest in... Right. My interest in metaphysics stems from Al Bielek, roughly from the age of 5. And I had no knowledge at the time when I was Ed Cameron that Dr. von Neumann, for example, or any of these other people had any such unusual connections. Now, most of these people were brought over. They became not part of the Philadelphia experiment. Von Neumann came over on his own in 1930, as did some of the other members of the staff at the Institute. And it is very possible some of them were members of some such secret orders or had connections in some way, but we don't know this. Another man who you would have to look at as being a potential member of such secret orders was, of course, the man who developed the atomic bomb later, and that was Dr. Oppenheimer, J. Robert Oppenheimer, who von Neumann knew very well. Oppenheimer had some strange ideas and strange connections, and of course, he was accused in the mid-50s or early 50s, communist or a very strong Communist Party sympathizer. Without getting into the politics here, he undoubtedly had some strange connections in Germany, because he was also from Germany and left there and came to the United States about 1930, as did a whole group. But what the connections were here, I never had an interest in. And this is the problem, trying to trace it now. I know that there was a large group of German scientists connected with the Philadelphia experiment, not the later ones brought over by Father, but the earlier ones that came over, and Unterman was not even connected with the Philadelphia experiment because he was not a citizen. Unterman, right. Yeah. He was here in those years, a new Father, knew him quite well. But those who became part of the project were already here, either normal Americans by birth, or they were naturalized citizens like Tesla, much further back, or von Neumann, who was a naturalized citizen also. And these people became part of the project. Their history, I don't know, but it was mostly Germans. It's quite correct. Now, in terms of the Phoenix Project, there are even more Germans involved. And that Phoenix Project, the essence of the Nazi connection became more obvious, because there we had all of these former German scientists, many Jewish, some not, who became part of the Phoenix Project, and the money was provided from the old Reichsbank funds, which have been lost in Germany in 1944 in a railroad car crash.
Well, where I'm driving at is, I mean, so much hardware and science was incorporated from Germany.
Yes.
Wasn't there any attempt to incorporate also all these mystical and magical and philosophical structures that existed in Germany? In the secretive levels of these highest scientific echelons that they've been working with?
Well, I'll have to put it this way. I saw no evidence of it as Al Bielek, and as Al Bielek, I was very much in metaphysics in the project. Now, there was a very heavy metaphysical aspect to the Phoenix Project involving the use of psychics and so forth, but I did not see evidence of a hierarchical connection involving any secret societies. That could have been there, but if it was extremely well concealed.
It always is.
Right. And it would be strange that would be there, and I would not be knowledgeable about it because I was a psychic director of many areas of the Phoenix Project. Duncan was heavily involved in that aspect of it. Father, of course, was in the background. He knew all about the project. He died in 1981 before the project crashed. And his connections with Unterman are well known, but what other connections existed, there is still no evidence of or data of.